Alright, so I have a theory. We'll have to see if this theory is correct. Which treasure chart did we get? It looks like it was in the 20s. Number 22. 3 treasure charts left. This one goes to Spectacle Island, which is actually a place we could go do a bunch of stuff in anyway, I think. No, Spectacle Island is the one by Windfall. So yeah, I have a theory that this could be important. But if not, then I'll be very confused as to why the check is the way it is. Alright, let's see if my assumption is correct, and the Earth Temple is tied to something important, and the Mirror Shield in general. I feel like this is the last thing that really is tied to that, right? And it's a golden feather, so I might be completely off base unless there's something else requiring the Mirror Shield that I'm completely spacing out on, which, in all fairness, I'm not ruling out that possibility. That is definitely a likelihood. Or maybe it's just like showing key items in general, not even things that are required to finish the seed. Alright, so we are going to go around the world, and try to look for treasure charts. At least that's my current plan. Basically, my hope is that one of these will have either the light arrows, which means we'll just be done, or specifically the Wind God's Aria, so we can actually just, you know, beeline towards, the, Wind Temple and try to knock that out really quickly. This doesn't- oh, never mind, it was just a longer wait for some reason. Yeah, if we actually finish up the seed tonight, which is my hope, we still have like an hour and a half left, so there is a possibility of getting through this in that time. I do have plans for what I want to stream next, though I don't think I actually want to reveal them yet. But again, I have something in mind. So yeah, definitely have some things in the works. No clue when they will be revealed. I also need to ask someone if they are up for something, actually. I thought of a co-op game to do with someone, but I just need to, actually remember to DM them about it. Just pull the bandage off and stream a game you've wanted to for a while, but if you're not feeling it, that's fine. Yeah, that's fair. That's kind of my overall feeling. Like, there are a lot of games that are on my short list of games I want to stream, but the inherent problem is, I have not been feeling the best the last, you know, month, primarily. So I almost feel like, I don't really want to play, like, Paper Mario, or even Mario and Luigi, which I argue I like less personally. I kind of went through it the other day and kind of hit the opinion that I'm like way more into Paper Mario of the two franchises. Even though I actually think in some ways the Mario and Luigi games are like better RPGs, I just feel like a lot of the Paper Mario games have more charm to them. And that kind of carries some of the games that I feel like have more like objective weaknesses, if that makes sense. It'd be probably all of them, actually. Except Sticker Star, because I don't have a way to reliably capture 3DS. And this is actually my genuine reason. It is not the elephant in the room. I would actually stream Sticker Star if I had the capability to. Because I actually think the game is overhated. And I actually think it's mildly enjoyable at best, even though I don't think it's like the most amazing game by any stretch. It's still like very underwhelming compared to the other Mario or Paper Mario games in my opinion, but again, I would still argue I think it's overhated, and I would be curious to revisit it because it's been since launch was the last time I actually played it. There is actually one more check tied to the Earth Temple, which would make the Mirror Shield a requirement, and that is the letter from Baito after delivering the letter to his mom and defeating Valhalla. So that is our last chance of the Mirror Shield actually being required for something. Again, Triforce charts are set to on, so this could be important, or it could be nothing. It's a yellow rupee. That is a definite downgrade from the Triforce. Yeah, I feel like it is my least favorite Paper Mario, but it is, like, not horrible in my opinion. It's just, I'd give it like a 6 out of 10 personally, but people treat it like a 1 out of 10. But then again, like, my least favorite game of all time is Star Ocean: The Last Hope for PS3. Last Hope International did have extra content, but I actually just genuinely dislike that game, mostly because of its story. If you ask a Star Ocean fan why they don't like Star Ocean: The Last Hope, I'm pretty sure everyone will give you the same answer. There's one very specific story beat that comes up a lot, and there it is. So the Mirror Shield was required. It was in the last possible place we checked that is connected to the Mirror Shield. Alright, so that means we are done here, actually. We don't have to do anything else. So we'll just hop over to the King of Red Lions and proceed to the end game. On one hand, I wish I had thought to check the spoiler in a different way. What did that say, actually? That was not the normal warp text. I'm like, what did that actually say? It looked like it was just some random other dialogue about, like, something else. So now I'm curious. You got the hero's new clothes. What the? Wow, they're really light. So yeah, just kind of junk text, basically. Yeah, a lot of times games that are objectively awful, I actually find more interesting in some ways. So again, the game I always go to is Sonic 06, which I actually would play over a game like Sonic Forces, just because I find Sonic 06 just a very interesting game, even though it is objectively very flawed. Alright, now that we have the light arrows, what will happen here? Because we kind of have a problem. Do we have to go through the maze again? Because we tried to go through it, and it didn't really result in anything. And also Phantom Ganon. Never mind, he's just here. So we can just do this. Alright, so that's nice. I was afraid we'd have to go through the entire maze again, but luckily that's all we had to do. We didn't actually get any extra bottles, which is kind of unfortunate. I kind of wish I had more magic, especially because we need a lot of magic for the puppet Ganon fight. Also, one thing worth noting is, to my knowledge at least, you can actually fight all of the dungeon bosses again. Like, you can actually go through the little mini dungeons to the bosses at any time. Like, even if you've already done them, to my knowledge. Which actually means, you can straight up, like, get the photos even after you've defeated the bosses, which is really nice. Again, there are very few missable photos. A lot of them end up being mini-bosses, like a very specific Wizrobe variant in the Wind Temple. I think a very specific Dark Nut in one of the temples. So yeah, in general, mini-bosses are more missable than anything else, which is kind of unfortunate, actually, just because if you miss one, then you really do have to just go through New Game Plus again. Hero mode is also harder. They basically, move, like, checks, like the treasures in treasure charts, like, farther to the edge of the island, making it harder to actually see where you're supposed to go. It's really not a big difference. It's very small in the grand scheme of things, but it is a difference. There we go. So I assume we will have to fight Puppet Ganon, which luckily isn't too difficult of a fight. But I am a little bit worried, because again, I'm having trouble with the controls lately. in terms of aiming with the analog stick, this is a problem with a lot of games when you try to run them on, like, different controllers, where, like, the dead zones are set in such a way that they don't, like, they don't correspond correctly to the point where aiming can be a little bit tricky. So we'll have to see how this goes. If we even have to fight Puppet Ganon, as we do. So we need the boomerang, for sure. Cut down the ropes, and then try to hit the tail. You can actually just, like, straight up hit the tail anyway. I don't think I'm good enough of a shot to pull that off. Especially with him, like, wiggling around like this. So we'll just, like, wing it and do the fight the intended way. Again, I meant to do this playthrough completely, you know, unspoiled, but again, I just happened to see that in passing, which again, we would have needed to find out eventually that we needed to actually get the mirror shield, but again, the biggest issue is I wish I hadn't seen that it was the mirror shield, because that basically tells me, oh, it's something tied to the Earth Temple. Because there's only so many options for mirror shield checks in this game. I'm glad I remembered the letter was tied to Chalhala, because that also sped things up. Otherwise, we would have checked, like, every sea chart. Hi, what's up? Can you take a picture with Ganon? There's no selfie mode in Wind Waker Original. That's only in HD. A lot of people like ray tracing, and I won't argue with that, because I think ray tracing looks really nice. But I also feel like screen space reflections are very underrated at times. Like, you can do a lot with SSR. A lot of times I almost do feel like ray tracing is just a really, like, expensive crutch to get better lighting, which does make it easier and all for it. Maybe crutch is too harsh of a word, but more like, you know, ray tracing costs a lot of resources like GPU and CPU to run properly. And I almost feel like, you know, just really well-crafted screen space reflections can often get the job done, depending on the game. And in general, I think ray tracing is something that, like, if I'm given the option between 60 FPS and 30 FPS, as long as it's a stable 60 FPS, I would rather just play a game without ray tracing if it meant getting better performance. Like, if I have to sacrifice one for the other, I would gladly give up ray tracing of the two. Another good example of that actually is Spider-Man. They have, like, a performance ray tracing mode, at least, so it's obviously not as stable or as, like, high quality of ray tracing, but it is, like, a nice compromise to have some level of ray tracing still mixed in with 60 FPS. Yeah, this phase, in my opinion, is just kind of annoying. Like, it's not difficult unless you have, like, a 3-heart run, but, like, it's just really hard to pin down a shot. There we go. I was just kind of randomly firing off arrows at that point, to be totally honest. Definitely was not paying as much attention as I probably should have been. I also don't need to have this tracker open anymore, because we have everything we need. And now we have this slow climb up to the boss. It's still faster than Snake Eater. See, that's a game I've thought about streaming, but if I only do 3-hour streams, there's the dynamic of most of the stream would just be cutscenes. Cause, like, I want to say the opening of Snake Eater is, like, an hour or so, with, like, maybe just a tiny bit of gameplay. And so, like, the first stream of Snake Eater would literally just be a cutscene, basically, for half of it. Luckily, this fight's not too difficult. I actually don't remember how to fight this boss, by the way, which will definitely prove to be a problem in a bit. Which is funny, because I was watching a speedrun on this game, like a video explaining speedruns on this game not that long ago. It's like, I should remember how to fight Ganondorf at this point. It's basically divided into different phases. Some involve needing to wait for Zelda to fire off light arrows, others involve just countering at the right time. Some involve both. So now we have this phase where we are on our own. We basically just have to dodge until, or like dodge and counter a few attacks, and then check in on Zelda in a bit. I think she'll stand up on her own eventually, but we can also just go over to her, I think. I think that works from what I gather. Also, I feel like this is the most unreliable counter in the entire game. For some reason, I always have trouble getting that to engage. Like, she just kind of goes too far off to the side and completely whiffs. Oh, that actually... did that deal damage? Okay, that just pushes you back. It doesn't actually hurt you. I was gonna say, if, like, the water wall hurt, that would be kind of frustrating, actually. Alright, so now we have to go talk to her. Again, she'll talk to you anyway. This just speeds it up a little bit. So all we have to do is wait for her to fire an arrow at us, deflect it back at Ganondorf, and land one final counterattack. I do like how, like, the Ocarina of Time Ganon theme is mixed in here. Alright, so all we have to do is land this counter, and we're done! Hey, that is game. So yeah, first time ever completing a Wind Waker randomizer. Overall, that was fun. Again, I don't know if I'll do another one at least anytime soon. But this was nice, and again, I might change settings, to be honest. If I do another one, I don't know if I want to have treasure charts turned on, just because that greatly extends the length of it. But again, at least the nice thing is I know more about, one, the game proper, and two, how the randomizer actually works. So that is a good feeling, actually, finally getting through one after many years of trying. So yeah, the Wind Temple would have been a massive waste of time. There was nothing there except a bomb bag upgrade and a telescope that technically counts as a key item. The other bomb bag was tied to the gold membership from Beetle, so that wasn't even in logic. That's interesting that the bomb bag upgrade, and I assume the arrow upgrade would be the same, where it might not be in logic. I also like how the little air bubble isn't really designed around Linkle, so it's definitely still very Link-shaped. Yeah, Wind Waker is still probably my favorite Zelda game, in general. I just feel like it has some of my favorite moments in terms of, like, you know, overall atmosphere and everything. Oh, it just totally skips the credits and epilogue scene. That is actually slightly anticlimactic, actually. Did I never actually do that? Huh. Starbelt Archipelago Lookout Platform, Wind God's Aria, and I'm like... I guess I didn't do that. I thought I did for some reason. I thought I had gotten the Starbelt Archipelago taken care of, but I guess not. Now I'm like gonna check the tracker, cause I could have sworn I did that. And we didn't have the Wind God's Aria, at least I'm pretty sure we didn't. Starbelt Archipelago, Lookout Platform, yeah, we never did that. So again, that's where the Wind God's Aria was all along. Yeah, it turns out you only need like 3 sunken treasures, so we spent a lot of time that we didn't need to spend trying to fish up everything. But you never know until you try. Thorn Fairy Island is another bottle. So yeah, the other empty bottle was in the Savage Labyrinth along with a heart container. And again, like the telescope and... Wait, what were we missing of like key items? Now I'm curious about this. Yeah, we're missing 2 bottles and a telescope for those. We're missing the Wind God's Aria, which I already mentioned was Starbelt Archipelago. a lot of heart pieces and heart containers. Not overly concerned about that. We are missing like the charm. So that's the other thing I figure I might as well look up is the hero's charm. Hero's charm was in the sunken treasure at the flight control platform. I didn't actually get that. I could have sworn I got a lot of the treasures, but then it turns out I did not. So, yeah, like main inventory stuff, that's basically all we're missing. And we're missing just a handful of charts beyond that. What was tied to... There's one thing I want to see what was like tied to it, which is the trees. Because they will be listed here. Even if it's not required. The Withered Trees quest was a green rupee. That's just insult to injury at that point. So yeah, in general, a very successful first seed, if I do say so myself. Well, first successful seed, again. This isn't my first attempt at a randomizer like this, but I definitely want to do more at some point. I don't know what I'll do. However, I would like to do more in the future. Still would have to look into different games to potentially do randomizers for, but I definitely want to keep trying these out. Minish Cap Rando's tempting, Link's Awakening Rando's tempting, again, since some friends were talking about doing an archipelago at some point. I'm almost curious about Ocarina, though I would not do a Skull of Sanity, because I do not know Ocarina that well. Maybe Majora's Mask would be fun. Yeah, I might look into Majora's Mask for the next 3D Zelda Rando. 2D's an open book, basically. But then there's all sorts of other franchises to do randomizers for. So yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this playthrough. This was a lot of fun to do. And we'll definitely be back in the future for some more randomizers.